Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Office of Project Management and Procurement, OPMP, was established in 2011 to regulate all procurement of goods and services and workers in the public sector. However, the Code of Practice for Project Management and Procurement was not introduced until July 2nd, 2018. Mr. Speaker, the government recognizes that public procurement policy must be both robust and flexible in order to systematically and practically address the changing economic needs of Bermuda. Mr. Speaker, the changes to the code have elevated our procurement processes in line with international best practices and standards. Public bodies now have more flexibility in choosing procurement methods that will help achieve greater business value while also mitigating potential contractual risks. Mr. Speaker, the latest version of the code, which Cabinet recently approved and came into effect on July 1st, 2020, allows public officers to be creative and flexible in their approach to procurement. Understanding and adaptation of the code is key to promoting consistency and a standard approach across the public sector, thereby reducing inefficiencies often associated with regulatory matters. Mr. Speaker, in summary, the changes to the code are as follows. The code was amended to include 2 additional categories to which the code does not apply. However, they do require approvals from the appropriate accounting officer or the financial secretary. They are media, communication, and public relations companies with the approval of the accounting officer, and accounting and auditing firms for specific services with the approval of the financial secretary. A new procurement review committee has been established to review all unsolicited proposals. This committee is created to assist with the assessment and evaluation of USPs that are submitted to various government ministries. The committee will consist of the financial secretary, permanent secretary responsible for OPMP, and the director of OPMP. The procurement thresholds and approval of contracts values have been amended. Procurement thresholds have 3 levels, and procurement methods apply. Under $10,000, $10,000 to $49,999, and $50,000 to $99,999. These changes are covered under Section 11 of the Code. The intermediate value procurement threshold has increased to values of $100,000 to $249,999. The high value procurement threshold has increased to about $250,000 and is covered under Section 13 of the Code. The single source procurement Section 24 of this Code has been amended as follows. Public officers no longer have to obtain prior approval from the director of OPMP. However, Mr. Speaker, public officers must inform the director of OPMP of their single source procurement. The director of OPMP may conduct an inquiry to determine justification and process steps. The director shall report quarterly to Cabinet in matters of compliance. Mr. Speaker, the steps that were taken improve efficiencies within the system, but do not go far enough to ensure economic growth and prosperity within small businesses, gender, race, and disability ownership. Mr. Speaker, to ensure that the government's aim is being met, there has to be a way of measuring success based on government's aim. Mr. Speaker, members may not be aware, but in Bermuda, a small business is defined under the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation Act, which states small business means a Bermudian-owned and owner-operated business enterprise with gross annual sales of less than $1 million or an annual payroll of less than $500,000. As a result of that definition and due to technical work at the Accounting General Office to identify and label vendors, I can report the government's success in rewarding contracts to small businesses. Mr. Speaker, since 2017, the government has awarded more than $38 million in contracts in small businesses. In 2017-2018 financial year, $13 million. In financial year 2018-2019, $13 million. And financial year 2019 to 2020, $12 million. 3 years prior, Mr. Speaker, only $33 million was paid to small businesses. Financial year 2014-15, $12 million. Financial year 2015-16, 11 million. Financial year 2016-2017, 10 million. Mr. Speaker, for the first time, a government is able to identify and measure the value of what it pays to small businesses. But Mr. Speaker, this does not go far enough. Government's vision to use its purchasing power to promote equality of opportunity with regard to disability, gender, and race is being fully met, must be fully met. Mr. Speaker, for decades, business owners who joined the right Gov Club, went to the right private school, or knew the right people would have always been government contracts. Having been awarded a contract once, it will subsequently get more contracts, partly by doing good work and partly by playing the game to get another contract. Some businesses being more successful than others is normal, as we choose to live in a capitalist society, but not if that success is earned by unfair practices. Mr. Speaker, this government is not going to rest on its laurels and pat itself in the back. We are pushing for further diversity. Our aim is to replicate the success of awarding contracts to small businesses, and we intend to use government's purchasing power to promote equality of opportunity with regard to disability, gender, and race. Mr. Speaker, we will seek to utilize the public purse to create opportunities for business owners who were marginalized in the past, particularly Black-owned small businesses, as well as other deemed unsuitable by past governments. If we generally want to diversify our economy and economically empower those Bermudians who up until now have not had a piece of economic pie, we must take steps to make this happen. Mr. Speaker, to make this happen, we are working on identifying, as we did for small businesses, all those companies that are doing business with the government as far as disability, gender, or race, in regards to at least 51% ownership within that group. Once this is determined, then based on government's approved matrix system, these companies will score a higher grade, hence having the opportunity to receive more contracts from government. Mr. Speaker, we have learned that the impact of the government's purse is so strong that maintaining the status quo is not good enough. Talking is not good enough. Action must be taken, and action will be taken. Mr. Speaker, it is vital that business owners know that government is open for businesses, because it is, and we are. Thanks, Mr. Speaker.